invitation. I'm Olis and I am an alcoholic. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And Ali, thank you for agreeing to join me. I really appreciate it. I love you. Um, as we were preparing for this evening, Ali and I talked about how we've talked many times, and certainly we talk about our relationship with God, but never in front of people. It's always been the two of us. And so the spotlight kind of helps because we can pretend other people are not here, and it can just be the two of us having a conversation about whatever we want to talk about. And I really hope that you'll open us up by offering a framework, a contextualization of reading.
Everybody, Ali Grateful Alcoholic. Alice, thank you so much for your invitation here. Actually, Alice and I had a couple of brief conversations because it's just so new and so different, so beautiful how the guidance came to Raquel and all the members here to have this meeting. And it's first of all, so right before the meeting, I said to Alice, I think what I need to do is just put this in context and read a page before and then that page. But Raquel already read it. She put it in context, that part of the big book where this line comes from. I just want to share this first and foremost. Um, Obviously, thank you to everybody that has been inspired to do service at this meeting. A few months back, just due to some internal guidance, I stopped accepting gracious invitations for speaking as a service opportunity for the rest of 2025, just because I was not being so effective. I need to be more effective. My home occupation is an affair. And and I think if anyone else would have invited me other than Alice in the way she said it, I would have probably been guided to respectfully decline. But because it's Alice, because the way she said it, it just moved me to come here and to see what God has in store for me to grow. Because that's what I'm very present to always. I'm not here to teach anybody anything. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm excited to see how I can grow in this conversation with Alice and with you guys, the energy back and forth. I, um, the, I think the greatest indication for me, this is all my opinion, my greatest indication and manifestation of somebody who walks with God, who is in conversation with God as a way of being, is kindness. Is kindness and showing up in action and service. And one of the reasons I'm so grateful and honored to be here with my friend Alice is because that's who she is. That's who she represents for me. The last few short years that we've known each other, we've grown to be very close. And it's because I watch God work through her in the way she shows up in action and love for others. I watch it all the time.
I really
I'm sure in this conversation today, we're going to talk about a little bit about, our conceptions of God and the evolution of that and all the manifestations of it and all that kind of stuff. But I think all that stuff, all the discussions and all the step work and all the inventories and all the philosophy and talking about God and what is and concept, all that kind of stuff, if it doesn't eventually lead to a walk of love and kindness towards God's other kids, then it's a waste.
a waste.
I believe so.
It's a waste.
I think it's a waste. So I fumbled and stumbled in that attempt for sure. But I'm here. I'm here to learn. I'm here to grow. I'm excited to be here with my friend Olis. So I don't know where it's going to go, how you want to take it. You lead, my friend, and I'll follow.
I don't have a leadership role for us, but I will say that like I've had a little bit of I'm jet lagged. I just got back from like a driving tour of the East Coast. Um, and I got in last night, so I'm still a little bit like, what time zone am I in? But I had a little bit of like about this conversation because I don't have a conception of God that fits into a neat box. Um, I mean, first I want to say, and I'm interested in what you think about this. that how can I possibly comprehend God? Like how I can't even do that. Like it's the God that I serve, the people who have heard me speak, I'll say, like whatever you believe in. If you believe in Odin, if you believe in the Orishas, like whatever you believe in. Because how could we possibly know? Um, and one of the things, Alcoholics Anonymous really is my spiritual practice. I don't belong to an organized religion. And one of the things that's been really helpful for me is the as you understand. My I think that comes maybe from Jim Burwell. I don't know, Ebby, I don't know. But this invitation to have a conception of our own. Because then it can change over time. It can grow. It's not defined by any dogma. It's my own walk. And as you said, any faith or belief that I have that doesn't manifest in me shining a light, what's the point of that? Like if I'm not shining the light, what really is the point? I want to ask you to share in whichever way you are comfortable with our love affair back and forth with Rumi and the things that we've shared that are spiritual in nature that come out of the incredible writings of the philosopher. We call him a poet, but the philosopher Rumi.
Sure, yeah. I mean, step 11 suggests we be quick to see we're religious. For me, I just add as a footnote, spiritual people are right, right? Whoever is seeking God is right. And it's so beautiful, this path and this, like in this, what started out as just trying to have my own conception of God that I can digest at the beginning because I grew up in a country that they use the God idea as a religion to hang people and, kill people and torture people, right? So I partly brought that idea into the rooms with you guys, and the beautiful long timers that you guys, thank you. Thank you for not shooting the wounded. You wouldn't argue with my arguments, and you would just let me say what I need to say, and you would tell me, come up with your own conception of God, whatever you can digest at this time, right? So I'm so grateful for that. And what started out as just uh, trying to put this this God in a bit of a box in my head so I can digest it until I grow, uh, has become something that uh, as you said, is unexplainable. I cannot contain it in this cognitive mind. Like my ego, my brain wants to put God on a spreadsheet. 1 + 1 = 2 + 2 = 4, right? Unfortunately, well, maybe fortunately, to really know God, I gotta be out of my mind. I gotta be out of this cognitive mind. I have to transcend this thinking, this egoic box of right and wrong and black and white. It's gotta be gone, you know what I mean? And along the way, what I've realized is that what was a feeble attempt at a God of my understanding at the beginning, it just has grown to be a God of my experience. I look for the God of my experience. I look for experiences like this God idea is, and it works. And along the way, what has happened to me, my rigidity has softened. I know it's a long way to answer you, but it's coming. I can feel it. It's coming. I can feel it. Along the way, my friend, my rigidity has softened, and I sort of came out of the bookends of the big book while holding the big book with me, not letting it go. And then I start to see the spiritual breadcrumbs, as Teresa says, God has dropped for me, and I picked them up. I ended up with Rumi. Many places I've ended up. I ended up with Rumi. My father and my grandfather, my father's father, who passed away, and my who was a Sufi. I remember they used to smoke opium back home with like a pipes and a golden barbecue, and just it was a whole ordeal, man. It was very magnificent. Opium was there's a whole ritual that goes along with it. When I was 3 years old, sitting there taking in secondhand opium, listening to them read Rumi and listen to Rumi, like people that sing about Rumi, right? That was my introduction to Rumi. And in Alcoholics Anonymous, as if like Rumi just called me back.
Yeah.
and I found I did a lot of research, and I found one of the best translator of Rumi, Coleman Barks. He's an English professor in the States, the best translator. And I start to open up the book. I wish I could read it in Persian. I can't. And just he started to speak to me. Like when I read Rumi, it just like it pierces my soul, the cells in my body smile, man. He lived about 700 or 800 years ago. He was a Sufi. Sufism is a mystical sect of Islam, right? Sufis believe that there shouldn't be an intermediary between you and God. God is love. God is everywhere, right? That's what they're dervishes. They dance and they sing and they read poetry, write poetry. And Rumi speaks truth. I think truth transcends time.
Truth transcends time.
Transcends time and space
Absolutely.
and ethnicity and culture and sexual orientation. It just transcends all of that.
Yeah.
So Rumi's truth, has penetrated the last few years so deep in my soul. Do you know why? All this. It- because it's truth and because it overlaps and parallels the truth in this beautiful big book of ours. Do you know what I mean? Like truth is truth.
Yeah.
Truth is truth, right? And it just like I can't talk enough about Rumi. It just what does he say? I'll just say this line and I'll throw it back to you because I could just keep going. I don't want to do that. There's a couple of lines, like so many poems. He says, walk the lover's path. When he says walk the lover's path, he's talking about this relationship of seeking a deeper relationship with God, right? Walk the lover's path with humility and truth. Those two things would take your hand and sit you right next to God,
Yeah.
right next to God.
There,
And isn't
there,
that what we try to do here in Alcoholics Anonymous?
absolutely.
Truth and humility,
And humility.
right? Truth and humility, right next to God.
There's so many lines out of Rumi that really moved me. Um, One of them, and I think you sent this to me. No, I am not close to God, and I don't have a practice of seeking. And I use the word God because it's just easy. Because then we know. But I mean the divine. I mean the creator. I mean the most high. And my relationship is primarily fueled by my suffering, real or
Mm.
fancied, by my
Whew.
mistakes, by, the word crisis is only used one time in the first 164 pages, right? On page 52, it says that when we have a self-imposed crisis that we can neither of no longer avoid or right or postpone. That's where my relationship primarily comes from. When I make mistakes, when I fall down, when I feel despair. We jokingly say the alcoholic prayer is like, God help me. And so in the dark times, and you and I were talking the other day, and we talked about that it's really, we we were confessing, I was confessing that I don't have any great spirituality based on like I'm choosing this because like I'm some great person. Like I'm humbled. I'm surrendered. I'm brought to my knees. Sometimes because of my own doing, but sometimes because of the great adventure of life. Like it just life happens. And you sent me this poem that talks about being the candle. Like being the candle is being the light. But the problem with being the candle is that first you have to burn. First you have to burn. And it's another expression, my spiritual belief and practice, that freedom's not free. That I want this relationship with God. I want to be the light. I long for these things. But those don't come to me without some suffering, without some work. Has that been your experience too?
Amen. Amen. That seems to be the way this path is set up for me. That's where I meet God at the deepest level, because I meet God in the moments in life when life squeezes me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Alice? Like when it's really squeezing me, And I just what I watch come out of me is judgments and self-righteousness.
Yeah.
What I watch come out of me is arrogance and egotistical thinking
Yeah.
and that deep-seated belief that you're just not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It humbles me. You're so right. It's so humbling, you know? It's so humbling to um like everybody, all of us in our own ways, right? So I'm not pleased. I don't hope like to be sponsoring people and to be walking the path and be really active and speaking here and there, and then life squeezes. My father's in the hospital, uh, Alzheimer's, mid to late stages. They're taking care of him over there. My mother's beginning stages of dementia. She's extremely paranoid. She's every second day she's accusing me of going to her condo or stealing her money. My sister just recently it came to light that sorry, it's my camera. I don't know what's going on. My sister just recently came to light that she was embezzling money from my parents' condo, and they're about to lose it. You know what I mean? And it's squeezing me, and I want to be kind, and I want to walk a spiritual life. And what sometimes comes out of me is you effing be
Right.
to my sister. How dare you?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
selfish son of a, you know what I mean?
When life shows up, that I know who I am, right? It home alone, I'm perfect. I'm just oh my God, I float, I levitate. But it's in the life. It is in the it gets hard that I see the truth about who I am, and then I get to decide, what do I want to do? Do I want to turn to God, or do I want to punch somebody in the throat? And honestly, I've gotten to the place.
Yeah.
I feel called to say this, and I'm going to read something. But I was trying to explain this concept to somebody, and I said to them, when I got here, because you can't judge people based on where they are, because you don't know where they came from. But when I got here, I injured people to entertain myself. To entertain myself. It's
Mm.
entertaining. I made you cringe. I made you hurt, right? That's who I was when I got here. And then not then I didn't want to hurt people, but I still hurt them. Then I didn't hurt people, but then I hurt because all I could do when I just swallowed it and paused was think about like what I should have said.
Yeah.
Then I grew to the place where I don't want to hurt people. Now I don't want to hurt people and I don't feel bad about it. It's this long path,
Mm.
because when life squeezes us and we have those thoughts, then we get to decide. The spiritual practice for me is a series of decisions. Who do I
Yeah.
want to be?
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Amen. And you know what, like, you know what I've come to, I guess, awaken to ever so slowly is that it is all sacred. It is all a conversation with
It's
God.
all sacred.
All of it.
All of it.
Because he does not make
Daily.
two hard turns for a broken soul like me, man.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I get to be warped, ugly on the outside and inside sometimes, bent out of shape, fumbling and stumbling. And I get to bring that to God. I get to bring that to God and watch him work,
So
you
I want
know?
to read something for us, and I want you to
Yeah.
listen to that, right? Hidden, because if you want to hide something in Alcoholics Anonymous, hide it in the concepts, but you could also hide it in the traditions, because we're not going to read that. So on page 174 in tradition 9, first full paragraph midway down, it says, unless each AA member follows to the best of his ability our suggested 12 steps to recovery, he almost certainly signs his own death warrant. What? It goes on and says, his drunkenness and disillusion are not penalties inflicted by people in authority. They result from his personal disobedience to spiritual principles. Not all. Some of my suffering is for God to lead me, for God to redirect me, for God to crack me open because that's how the light gets in. But some of it is I'm disobedient. I know the right thing to do, and what do I choose? I choose the wrong thing because it's easier or it feels good or it and it's this obedience, right? That is the practice for me. It's the and I don't want to be obedient. What do you think about that? Those two sentences.
The sentence is about that you just read about the
Unless
traditions there.
each
Yeah.
member follows to the best of his ability our 12 steps, he almost certainly signs his own death warrant. His drunkenness and disillusion are not penalties inflicted by people. They're results from his personal disobedience to spirit.
Right. Right. I don't know. You may not want to hear what I think.
I want to hear it.
Okay. Okay. I think I think uh I think all of that is above my spiritual pay grade.
It's not true. It's
I
not
think,
true.
I think, I think, I hope there's no new people on the call, but I think whether somebody stays sober or not, none of my business.
Mhm,
Not everyone's supposed to stay sober.
mhm,
It's part of the grander designs and plans.
mhm,
My little plans and designs want things a certain way all the time. And
mhm.
sometimes, and a lot of times with good motives too.
Yeah,
I can make a case why this should be. Right? How my sister should be, how my mom should be, how people should stay sober when they work the 12 steps. Why not? Everybody has a chance. Maybe not.
maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe part of the
Well,
bigger, grander plans and designs, I'm just a spoke in the wheel, and I
so
can surrender myself to the moment and to this power and this conversation. And I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be sober tomorrow or not.
mm,
I don't know.
wow.
However, having said that, I agree with the experience that thank God. Like when we say that, what I hear is that we don't need any policemen in AA
No,
or women,
no.
right? Alcohol is a great persuader and God knows what he's doing, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really appreciate you saying like you're not going to want to hear this, and that really is a profound thing to say. I don't know who's supposed to be here and not supposed to be here. Like hell, I don't know what God's plan is for me, and I want to join you in taking the risk. Like I, I have this which I've talked a little bit about, and this is the part that was like about this conversation because my beliefs are outside of what's I think a traditional framework, right? So I've talked about like my understanding of God is that there's this little speck of the design in of the divine in me, a little
Hmm.
speck of God in me, like a little particle of dust of God. And there's one in you, there's one in all of us. And that it's my soul. We call it a soul, right? And the thing that evidences it is my breath, right? When the breath leaves the body, the soul leaves the body.
Hmm.
And the in many ways all of the religious stuff aside or not, it's this walk towards connecting in a deep and meaningful way to another soul. It's a walk, it's the obedience, because if I'm not obedient to some spiritual principles, gratitude, self-examination, sir, I'm not going to do it. So I
Yeah.
need the obedience to the principles in order to be open to a real relationship with another soul, um, to be interested enough in you to
I
put
think
myself
maybe,
in.
sorry, I think maybe Julie needs to be removed. She's put up her hand a few times and she's using a whiteboard now.
I couldn't. Now I'm just trying to. There you go. Did you do it, Kat? Thank you
God
so much.
bless you,
I've been
Julie.
trying. I've been trying.
It's all good.
Julie, there's a Q&A. There's a
Yeah,
Q&A.
yeah.
Just wait for us. Um, so I wanted to, you know, invite you into talking about, unless you want me to go first, which I'm happy to do, um, any framework that you have. My framework, which is shocking to me, my framework has increasingly become science. I've increasingly begun to see how science reveals God, how science invites me into a deeper understanding of God. I'm super interested, in my own lazy way, in quantum physics and in quantum entanglement and
Mm.
and that we live in a multiverse, and that it's my beliefs and my actions that create the world that I live in as much as anything else. Not to say that I am the God, but if I'm made in the image of the Creator, that I too am a creator. And so that gives me more responsibility for how I use my life energy, my force, to create good in the world, to create the things I long for, that I'm not waiting for someone else to do it, that's my responsibility in part. That's
Um,
crazy to you?
sorry, we finished?
Does that sound
Yeah.
crazy to you?
No, no, I love it. First of all, before I just go where this thread is going to take me, I want to acknowledge you and thank you so much for your role in this conversation. You're taking the lead. I could not do it without you. You're just like leading and directing. Thank you so without actually leading and directing. I appreciate you. Um, no, I don't think that sounds crazy at all. I think God shows up to everybody differently, and all it takes is a seeking heart, you know. He doesn't make too hard terms for those who earnestly seek, right? He's open, broad, and roomy, and open to all men, this relationship. And I could see that. I've also sort of dibble-dabbled in the past in that, quantum physics and and all that kind of stuff. I think however God shows up at different times is like exactly how he's supposed to show up, whether it's starlit night, you know, or whether it's whether when I come home, Maximus smiles and says, "Daddy." God shows up exactly how God's supposed to show up, you know, my friend. And and I those blessings, those aha moments that just stop me in my tracks
Mhm.
and just take away my breath
Yeah,
and make me conscious of his presence in my life.
yeah,
They're priceless, they're beautiful, and as a result of being with you guys here, I get to be aware of them more often than not. Because I've always been there.
yeah.
I fall asleep. I suffer from a
I
disease
know.
called spiritual narcolepsy,
Yeah,
where I fall asleep. I fall asleep.
yeah. Right.
Right? And as a result of conversations like these and just the conversations we have together in the rooms and all the step work and everything that we do, I get to stay awake more often than not and be in awe. What I wanted to sort of talk about now is, if it's okay with you, that this has been my experience. I want to ask yours. It's sort of, I'm piggybacking on something you said earlier about suffering a little bit, right? Um, it, like these aha moments, all these portals to a relationship with God that we have, whatever everyone's is different, right? That we get present to the presence, right? Um, I have found that if they don't result in me trying to serve one of his other kids in some way, um, what happens is like, so what I think about is this, is like, you know, St. Francis prayer says, God, make me a channel of your peace. Like I'm a channel, you know, right? And then like, let's say maybe this is wrong analogy, but like a channel coming from the well and clean water goes through the channel, right?
Yeah.
These beautiful moments and experiences, this God's love and God's flow as it comes through me as a metaphorical channel, if the intent in my heart is not to allow this flow of love to go through me into the lives of others in some form of service,
Yeah.
what happens to me is that if the river is not flowing, it turns into a swamp, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So all these beautiful God experiences and conversations with God, they just become moral and philosophical convictions galore. You know what I mean? They become stale
That's
and it
right.
starts to stink. And how it shows up is me trying to tell you what to do.
So this is why I think the path that I'm on is for the soul in me to connect with the soul in you. Because if I'm not connecting, then you're right. It's a swamp. It's a swamp. And it's led me to some of it's my upbringing, right? I was raised in a very socially conscious house, and I'm black. And so if you're black in
What?
America and I know. It's a
You could
revolution.
have fooled me.
It's a damn revolution in America. So So I was raised with certain kinds of consciousness. And in some ways, it's an advantage because if you're in the primary dominant culture, you don't have to. You just don't have to. But when you're raised and you're not a part of the dominant culture, you have to, if you want to survive and you want to thrive, you better figure it out. And so, what's happened for me in this, your analogy of the channel, and if it's not flowing, it's a swamp, is it's expanded me. And I think of myself as a citizen of the whole universe. I think of myself as a suffering anywhere is my suffering. That I want to not just share my light with people in Alcoholics Anonymous or people who look like me. I don't want anybody to be hungry. I don't want anybody to be unsafe. Like, I really am deeply committed to us moving out of darkness. I'm deeply committed to that. And because of that, sometimes I get sad. Sometimes I see the things that are happening in the world and they impact me because I have a vested interest in other people, not just me or my sponsees or the people in my home group or the people in my, like, I have a vested interest in a larger wellness for us. And that usefulness, that's how I think of it, as usefulness. That's, if the water's not flowing, I'm not useful. I'm not connecting to the other souls, and hence I'm not connecting to God. I really appreciate the swamp analogy.
Um, I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you. Thank you for this conversation. It is so true. Can I give one example? I don't know if I share it, but
Please.
I'll share it. So sort of what you were saying in terms of heart hurting about what's going on in this world. And obviously we're going to keep, I know it's not an AA meeting, but I'm going to keep to the traditions and not bring outside issues just because I think it taints the conversation for some people. So I won't do that. There's a lot happening in the world that's just breaking my heart, man. Like breaking my heart. It just, especially at the beginning, like the first year a bit, I would cry at nights, like, not bawling, but like tears would come, it's just sadness. And I would think that part of my usefulness is perhaps to put on social media, not to argue with people, but videos and information that I have, how I see the world, right? The injustice that's being done in certain situations. And lots of prayer and a lot of talking to a lot of my elders and my wife. And every single time my sponsor, every single time the message seems to be, that's not your lane. That's not where you're effective. You have recovered, maybe not in these words, but in different words, but basically you've recovered and been given the power to help others. And by you doing this, you're going to be playing God and be less effective and less useful. So sometimes I want to create my usefulness. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah.
Right. So like me playing God and this is and I could make a case and I could have friends of mine that are very clear spirited, clear minded sign on because I believe it. Right. So I'll give you one small, just quick example. Is it okay if I keep going or?
Please.
Yeah. So if anyone that's a Facebook friend of mine, you'll see it's just spiritual stuff from my heart, but I don't get political at all. Anyway, so even though I want to, sometimes I pray about it. So I refrained from doing that. And then couple of years ago, or maybe a year ago, a friend in the program, sober for a little bit, this person reached out to me and they were going through a real tough time. And this person is the exact opposite political belief system as I am. In a couple of situations worldwide. Staunch the other way. Some Facebook post the other way that I just made my insides just like, oh, I wanted to respond, but I didn't. So as a result of me not being guided not to get out of my lane, this person reaches out to me when they're in trouble. And we do some spiritual work together. And this person just wakes up, not by me saying, by them saying. The most incredible experiences. And what this person said to me is that, Ali, I don't think I could have heard this. We did a fourth and fifth together from anyone else but you. because all I see you being is kind and non-judgmental. And through this process of us doing spiritual work, you know what happened, Alice? This person, I keep saying this person because I don't want to give it a gender. This person became a spiritual mirror to me. I saw my judgments of the other side. Because if I grew up the way this person did, been fed the information this person was fed, had the experience this person had, I would be exactly in the same mindset as them. And I would be thinking I'm right and the other side's evil and I'm good. So I grew up as a result of staying in my lane and not creating my usefulness, but truly listening to the voice and conversations and God, where can I be useful? I found once again, first of all, this person and I became much closer together. And you know what? Hollis, I'll tell you this. I never brought up the conversation about the politics, eh? But guess what? If there is ever a time or any person that could bring a different point of view for this person to consider seriously, you know who it will be? It'll be me. It'll be me. It'll be me.
So,
And I found this, and I'll finish. Sorry, I just wanted to say this. What I found is what you've alluded to so much, and I think what our path is. I found that happiness hides just underneath usefulness in this path.
I think that happiness hides under usefulness, and I think
Just
all of
underneath.
us are called to something different, right? And it's not an AA meeting, so I'm going to go outside the lines. I come from people. My mother was born in Charleston, South Carolina, and her mother was born on St. John Island off of Charleston, South Carolina, and her mother was born there. I come out of chattel slavery. My people come off the plantations. Charleston, South Carolina was one of the major slave ports where people who were in bondage, who were kidnapped and trafficked, were brought into this country. And I think one of the struggles for liberation, right? Because I don't think that God intends for me to be in bondage. Not spiritually, not physically. I do not believe that that is God's will for my life. And that requires work on my part. That requires courage. That requires standing up. That for me, it's ungodly to not speak up. Now, I've had no gender, probably the same person call me and say, oh my God, these terrible things are happening. I don't want to have that conversation because you don't want to have that conversation with me. I promise you don't want to have that conversation. Don't call me. And so I said, I have a completely different point of view. I have a different understanding. I was kind and I moved on. I saw the person later in Vancouver and they were like, oh my God, I've been thinking about you. It's all hugs and love and light. But I think my responsibility in talking about my relationship with God and my understanding of God is I come from people who have freed themselves, not for me to be quiet, but for me to continue to be the light. And for me, the light is about all forms of freedom. For me, all forms of freedom. And I'm okay with people liking me or not liking me. Now, I'm not a social media person. I don't post. I don't take, I don't see as useful. What I'm going to do is give people some money. I'm going to show up. I'm going to send an SIM card. I'm an action person. You and I were talking about this. I'm an action person. I don't got a lot of talk. I don't got a lot of posting. I don't got that. But I'm going to do action because that's what God's put in me. And that's not for everybody. And I get that that's not for everybody. I'm a soldier. I was born a warrior. That's what I am. And I've prayed to God, make me different. I want to be a flower. I'm not a flower. That's not what I
I
am.
love it. I
I'm
love
not,
it.
that's not what I am.
I
I'm a
love it.
warrior.
I love it.
And there are spiritual warriors. I'm a spiritual warrior. And so I'm going to say things as politely as I can. But for me, silence is violence when people are suffering. It's ungodly to me. So let me, since I'm out on the limb here, I have a couple of practices that to me manifest my devotion, because the practices are about my devotion, right? My
Mm,
discipline is about my devotion. And one of them is the acknowledgement that I'm already right now standing in all the blessings.
mm,
I'm alive.
mm,
I'm sober. More than that, I'm awake. I'm not just sober, I'm awake. And I've got a set of tools you guys have given me that allow me to get deeper and deeper and deeper into my awakening. I'm gonna do them quick. So that one's gratitude. Then I have awareness, right? This you've heard me say this unceasing, unsparing self-evaluation. Now here's a tragedy, and I have a resentment against God for this one.
mm.
Why is it that taking your inventory doesn't make me free? Why? I'm so good at that, right? But it's only in looking at me. It's only in look, like, where am I unfair? Where am I unkind? Where am I selfish? Where, like, you can't let the people in traffic, you can't pay for the price. Where am I falling short of how I think God would have me be? And looking at the patterns. Because when I can see the pattern of what I do, I can find my fear and I can set it aside. I can at least ask God to help me set it aside. Then there's usefulness, which we've talked a lot about, right? Am I useful? Am I useful? Am I useful? I ask people all the time, what can I do to support you? How can I be useful? I mean that. I mean that. And the final one is, and this one's a little more out there, is manifestation. Is manifestation. I believe that I am creating my own reality. I believe that. Now, everybody that knows me knows I want a house with an in-ground pool, real bad, real bad. Well, I want a bed. Oh, I want the bed. I haven't manifested. I don't know why I haven't manifested that. I done moved 5 times. Why, God? Because it's not time. I'm always winning or I'm learning. I'm never losing. It's never no. It's just not right now. And so I'm manifesting, maybe not in the time frame I want, but I always believe that I'm the light and that I'm seeking the light. And that in order for that to be true, there's certain things I have to do in order to feed that part of myself, the God part of myself. So those are my practices, and those practices are food for me so that I can do the job that I think I've been sent to do, which is a warrior job. I think I'm a war. That has been my experience. I cannot not speak. I cannot not stand up. I don't. It's not in me.
And I'm so grateful that there isn't all this. It would be so boring. This world would be so boring if it was just alleys. Not much would get done. Not much would get done.
I
I'm
mean, but
so grateful
it
there
takes
isn't all.
it takes everything. It does.
Sure,
It takes all of us.
sure. And and it makes sense. It's very very logical to me actually, because I mean if I'm attempting to deepen a relationship with infinite love, infinite power,
Yeah.
then I have to be open to the fact that God will manifest himself, herself, itself in infinite ways.
Infinite.
Through an Olis, through a Ralph, through a Raquel,
Yeah.
through me, right? And it's all useful. It's all sacred.
And it all changes over time. You know what I
Changes
mean?
over
Like,
time. Yeah.
the big book talks about quantum physics, right? In We Agnostic, it says that, it's a prosaic metal girder, but it's really thousands of electrons whirling around, right? And
Yeah.
that's quantum physics, right? We're all particles. We're all made up, everything of the same stuff. And to your point, God manifests in infinite ways. But what's I think also true is that I can change over time. That as my practice deepens, I become a different person, right? So I can't walk through a wall, but particles move through space and solid objects all the time. that it's where are you in the spectrum. And so that leads me to believe that as I deepen my practice, I will change as a person. I'll manifest differently. I'll be able
Amen.
to do things. Hell, I'm doing things now I didn't think was possible when I was drunk. Like the journey in this spiritual thing is change, is me changing.
Amen. By the way, a side note, you got to call AFC. Talk about manifestation. You guys are on the same wavelength. You guys would love.
Manifestation. That's right.
Yeah, you guys would love that, I think, conversation,
Manifestation.
both of you. That's just to go to you were saying about gratitude and acknowledgement. I just want to share this. I want to share a couple of maybe um, a couple of prayers that have just shifted me. Just like this camera of mine has an issue with this. Like, prayer, by the way, prayer is like, it's sure, it's words, right? But I believe it's a desire in the heart to get to know God better, to be a better human being, to be a better servant. Prayer is a walk. Prayer is a way of life. It's not just words I've spoken. But however, having said that, many prayers have moved me when I first got introduced. So I'm just, as of late, there's a couple of prayers that have just shifted me a little bit. One is, it was introduced to me like, it was a couple of years ago, and please, if you're a practicing Catholic or Christian, please forgive me if this is against your beliefs, but just my experience. So to take the Lord's, somebody an elder told me this, that they read this somewhere, to take the Lord's Prayer, instead of a prayer of petition, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Instead of a petition, like give us this day our daily, but give us, right? Save us. Make it a prayer of affirmation, and it's the prayer of like prayer of acknowledgement, right? To just put the word you in that prayer. Right? I'm just going to say it out loud so everyone sits with it. And it's been so profound for me. That's one of the prayers, okay? I hope I remember the words in the little bit. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. You give us this day our daily bread, and you forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And you lead us not into temptation, and you deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. That just shifted me in this relationship, in that prayer. That's one. The other one, if I may, I got it from Ralph recently. I see his face. I gotta acknowledge it. So I've been going through a lot again, man. It seems to be, I don't know, for whatever reason, life gets heavy from time to time, often these days. And I was talking to Ralph about what's going on just a few weeks ago, and he shared with me, and I'll give credit to where credit's due. He shared with me a lot of things that were profound in that conversation. But one thing that stuck with me is a prayer that Leslie came to her in contemplation and meditation. I hope I don't butcher the details, Ralph. As Leslie was trying to take care of her mom who had dementia, who was in a healthcare facility, I think. And the prayer that came to her was, she's getting frustrated and afraid and all that kind of stuff, to do the third step prayer, but put her mom's name in it. And I start to do that for my dad, for my mom, for my sister. And I'm telling you all this, it has humbled me. It has allowed me to breathe. It has kept me in my lane. It has made me present the fact that God is God and my sister's got a God and none of my business. So it sounds something like this, just for the effect I'm going to say it, okay? Please. God, I offer my sister to you, to build with her and to do with her as you will. Relieve her of the bondage of self, that she may better do your will. Take away her difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those she would help, of thy power, of thy love, and thy way of life. Whew. Ooh, that was a shift for me. You know how you hear in AA, sometimes in the rooms you hear people say, if you have a resentment for somebody, pray for them, right? And I understand where they got it from, and it works for some people. Listen, I'm not whatever works for you, okay? I'm a nobody here, but I get it where they're coming from. There's a story in the back of the big book, right? When an AA member did that for 2 weeks, and it was a profound experience for them. So people, but if you look at our actual literature, in our solution, it never says to do that, right? What it says to do is that, hold on, you got to pray for yourself. You got the issue. Yeah, pray for God to remove your selfishness, right? Your anger, right? So we see what your mistakes are. But this prayer, the third step prayer, it is like, it has been so powerful for me that I'm praying for someone else, but I'm not playing God in their life.
Right.
I'm not telling God what to do, what I want for them, what I don't want for them. I am a grain of sand. All I want to be is useful. And God, just do the same thing I'm asking for me to do for my sister, if you see fit. And keep me in my lane. You know what I mean? Just really want to share that
I
with you. Like,
really,
that's my framework today. Those two prayers.
I love those, and I'm gonna use both of those, both the you in the Lord's Prayer and the using the third step prayer for somebody else. That I'm gonna have to call Leslie, who just had an anniversary, and thank her for that. You know the thing, because we're running close on time, and so I want to put this out. You know, I think when it gets hard to be godly is when it don't swing our way. When you get the health diagnosis, when the finances, like when something that's the truth come out, right? And I heard this talk on Fitz Mayo that I found on WhatsApp. And in the talk, um, they read a letter at the end of Fitz Mayo's life where and I didn't know that much about the end of his life. He dies, I think, of colon cancer. And he goes to Dr. Bob, and Dr. Bob's like, this bad. And he's writing this letter to a friend, and he says, yeah, I got these rear end problems, and it may be the end of me. But who am I to complain when it's all a part of the great adventure? And I try to have that relationship with my faith. That is, whatever comes, comes. But it's a part of the great adventure. I don't have to like it, but that nothing happens to me. That all of these things are for me. They're to crack me open. They're to, our friend Bernadette used to talk about crawling up into God's lap. Crawling up and I go see Bernadette, man, it took all the energy in the world just to get up and get dressed. And then she'd be like, let's go get lunch. And her faith.
Yeah.
And that's one of the lights for me. That my relationship with God is not about like I'm gonna just surrender and lay down and whatever happens, I'm a victim. But instead, just accepting it as it comes and finding the gift in it. Thoughts?
Bernadette, who passed away, Bernadette?
Bernadette, who passed
Oh,
away.
what a life she was, eh?
What a light.
Oh, talk about being a candle is not easy. In order to give light, one must burn first.
Yeah.
Oof, what a light she was, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That seems to be the theme, isn't it? That seems to be the solution to this human trap of suffering for me. You know, my friend, that being presented over and over with moments that make me just have to look at fearlessly is either God is everything or he is nothing, right? And being faced the fact that my suffering, not my pain, pain comes. My suffering has only and only one cause. Me wanting reality to be
Right.
different than it is.
Right.
That's it. And you know what, I can dress it up nicely too, the way I can dress it up nicely, but there's only one real reason. So I can be more comfortable in my own skin. That's my suffering. Playing God.
I want you to close us out where we began with Rumi. Will you talk for people who've maybe never heard the guest house and tell people what the guest house is?
Okay, sure. Let me bring it up because my memory is not the greatest. Uh, And Rumi, perfect. Yeah, is this same theme that was going through and we sort of started with and ended with. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Is in this poem. Is in this poem.
While he's looking, I want to say that, and Marty's here too. I had the bright idea, because I'm a bright idea girl, that we were in New York, is only 8 hours from Toronto. We should all get in a car and drive. So I talked Sherrod and Donna J and Matt T into getting in the car, go to Costco, I buy how much food I cook, and we drive to Toronto. And
Yeah.
I tell Ali, you gotta come. I'm coming to meet you, gotta come. And he gives me the translated poems of Rumi. Thank you for that gift, my friend.
I love you, my friend. That's another example of action and love. Yeah, when someone has been touched, the light that they emanate just inspires. What did Jesus say? I'm not Christian, but what did the carpenter say? You're trying to, I'm paraphrasing. You're trying to fish. I'm going to teach you how to be the fisher of men, right?
I'm not gonna give you no fish. I'm gonna teach you how.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll teach you how. Yeah, that's right. Become a fisher of men. Um, this human, that's right. Marty was there too. I remember walking into that place. These guys said, this is all the conversation with God. This is it. This is what a conversation and walk with God looks like. To come all the way from there in the middle of COVID, rent a Airbnb, spend all the time cooking and just, you know what I mean, is creating a space for like, what was it, 50, 60, 100 people, whatever it came, right? I walked into that room. Ralph, I walked in that room and just tears started to come down my eyes. I was like, wow, this is what it looks like, doesn't it? This is what it looks like. Not how good I sound at a meeting. No, this is what it looks like. Love, man. Love story.
That's a love
Love story. Love story. Guest house, Ruby.
story.
This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you up for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. I love you, my friend. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you, everybody.
Is it ever possible that Raquel is speechless? Okay. Thank you, guys. Something really beautiful happened. Let me tell you the image that comes to my mind. Here, pragmatism, practicality, feet on earth, kindness. Let's go, like boots on the ground. Here, love, kindness, clouds, colors. And it's like Olis and Ali, like all of this is like I got all the spectrum of the everything. It was just absolutely beautiful. I can't thank you enough, both of you. Do you want to know something? I have a couple of questions, but I do want to say something. Olis, I met my warrior not long ago. I also wanted to be a little rose. And I understood that I am not that I am a fierce little bison that was here for something. And funny enough, I texted one of my friends and I told this friend, I think I found my wings. I think I finally understood what it is, that there's a need of this for me. So it was so beautiful. I need to talk to you a little bit about the spiritual breadcrumbs for both of you. And then, of course, we're going to open it up for a million questions. I'm pretty sure everybody has a lot of things to ask. The first one I would like to ask, Ali, right? You were talking about the spiritual breadcrumbs that actually hold you back to Rumi. When you were talking about that, I could feel it. It's like it was just so absolutely beautiful. But as both of you were talking about the pain and the suffering, sometimes I wonder if it would even be possible that God just may be just shedding a tear with us when we see those things that are happening. That is just like, this hurts, right? Uh, but it would be possible also that in the suffering, in the tear, in the pain, in what it seems like an injustice for me or for the other side, could it be possible that God is there as well? That is part of God as well?
Did you say Ali? I was hoping you say Olis.
I said,
Are you asking me?
whichever one of you would like to go for it and give it a go, it would be a pleasure to hear.
I think my experience has been that I agree with you, Raquel, because if God is everything, that he better be in the darkness too. He better be in the fetal position at home where I can't find a job that pays enough to support a family. I feel like a loser. I feel like I'm not a man. I don't feel like I'm good enough. He better be there too. He better be. He better be with my dad as he's soiled himself and he's lost in an Alzheimer's episode and doesn't know left from right, scared. You better be with him too. So the way I look at it, life, you know how sometimes people say, God never gives me more than I can handle, all that kind of stuff. Again, it's just how God shows up, how it occurs for me, right? Not that that is wrong. It's just not my truth. My truth is that life will give me things that I cannot handle, man, that are dark, that are heavy. That's why there better be a God. There better be a relationship with God. But as a result of my broken seeking in the darkness, when I seek him, he gives me what I need to get through it. Gives me what I need to get through it. So you better be everything in that sense. You better be everything. Not that he causes the darkness. That's not my belief. It may be someone else's.
Mm-hmm.
Darkness happens, but God better be there. I better seek him. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. It does. And yes, Olis, whatever you want to add to that, because it is a good thing to be awake, and it is a good thing to be aware, but not so much as what is happening within, as sometimes what is happening without, and to feel the pain. And I don't know about you, but it brings me a lot of comfort sometimes to think that maybe God is shedding a tear with us right here, right now, when there's something that is really hard to watch. So anyways, Olis, what would you like to add to that? And guys, go ahead and get on the queue, ask questions or whatever. The meeting is open for all of you.
If in fact there is a speck of God in each of us, and it is our responsibility to cultivate that, the darkness comes from the lack of cultivation. And if I have the light and you don't have the light, and I stand by and I let you spread darkness, then what is the purpose of my light? And I think that there's two different things that we're talking about simultaneously. It's the stuff that happens to me personally that challenges me to grow my light and shine that light. And then there are the things that don't happen to me personally, but happen in the world because there's darkness. One thing that I believe is true is that we have free will. And that in that free will, people sometimes make decisions that hurt us one-on-one, or, there's whole societies of people who have lived peacefully in alignment with the earth, and it's not impossible to do. We're just not doing it right now. And the question is, given the power that we have, the light that we have, what are we willing to invest in U-turning the path that we're on? That is the question that I struggle with.
And that was just so beautifully said. I think you answered Raquel's question a little bit more directly in what she was talking about. I just want to add this to it, just from my experience, if it's okay. So, when I get in trouble, the stuff that happens outside of me that have nothing to do with me, and I shed a tear and God cries with me, because tears are a beautiful form of prayer for me. You know, when that, I get in trouble when I make the external stuff too personal about me.
Mm.
Then I become less useful, less effective. It becomes more about how I feel and what I think than being really useful in the moment. That's happened to me a lot. Happened to me a lot. So if I stand in that truth that I want to be useful, and as you said, oh, that's so beautiful, just cultivate that usefulness through everything that we do, through self-examination, prayer, meditation, all that, right? When I cultivate that useless, and then I can hear God's guidance, and God's guidance may be to run for a public office. God's guidance may be to go talk to that person and tell them about the opposite point of view, to stand up to this person. And God's guidance may be to just, shh, don't post anything. Shh, not your lane, right? So I think it's the desire to cultivate and stand in truth and be useful rather than how I feel. Because I could get lost in how I feel. You know what I mean? Sometimes.
Thank you. Bob, go ahead. You want to unmute?
Hey, my name's Bob. Wow, what a beautiful form, you guys. You know, I've watched you guys, you know, and two of my favorite speakers, and I didn't go to my home group tonight so I could be here for this. And I mean, some of the stuff like kindness through service, and what I really loved is no mediator between me and God. I like that. I like that because I've never quite fit in with religions and stuff like that. So that's been wonderful. And you know, that making that psychological choice, no matter what's going on out here, to choose love, you know, whether you call it God or love or truth or spirit of the universe, or lately I've been calling it just space, you know, that energy that, you know, the other day it came to me like, oh, I'm practicing these principles in all my affair. These principles, every one of them is just another word for love. You know, it's hard for me when I see what's going on in the world to choose love. You know, for me to do that, I have to change my perception of what I'm seeing, because the whole quantum physics, I'm projecting. You know, when my sponsor was saying, like, this is like a blank screen, you're projecting this stuff on there. Like, dude, I am not causing this insanity. He's like, you're not causing that insanity, but that insanity is bringing that out of you. You know, I'm like, wow, that's out of my lane. That's above my pay grade. But he's a beautiful soul, and I'll understand what he's talking about someday, I'm sure. You talked about something like your suffering. All suffering comes from the space between, I don't know if it was your expectations and reality, or the space in between what you really want in reality. Could you talk about that a little bit? I missed it. I missed writing it down. That was for you, Ali.
For me, okay. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for your share, brother. Thank you for being here. I just so there's a spiritual teacher, Byron. What was her name? Byron something. I forget her name. Beautiful. She wrote a beautiful book. If I remember it, I'll put it in the chat. Anyways, she wrote this line in one of her books, and it hit me, like it just penetrated, and it's so true. She said, and she's a spiritual leader, and people follow her, right? She said, I don't, what did she say? I don't disagree. I stop disagreeing with reality, not because I'm spiritual, because it hurts. Because it hurts. Right? So what I was trying to allude to, what I was trying to say is that, brother, every time I disagree with what is happening, how you are, how my sister is, my economic situation, work, AA, my home group, every time I want things to be different than they are, I suffer in that. I suffer in that. Another way that we talk about it is that I play God by assigning different people roles. I assign God a role too. I assign everybody. I suffer in that. Because within that are my stories and my plans and designs of how I think things should be. And what this beautiful path does through the steps, through conversations, through elders, through sponsorship, through hearing you guys, through walking with, it just blows the smoke out of the way. And I just see truth.
So my suffering isn't really from what's happening externally. It's from my thoughts or my judgments about what's happening.
Thank you. Me disagreeing with what's happening. Where they say acceptance is a solution, right? So when I accept what is, I don't have to like it. I can feel pain within it. That's okay. But when I accept it fully, and then the solution arises of what my assignment is, and I no longer suffer, and I can sit in the middle of in the eye of the storm as the storm is around me. I can be sad and walk with God. I've learned that. God walks with me through sadness. What he doesn't walk with me through is a resentment.
Yeah.
Through sadness, he walks with me. But when I feel like you should be different, when I'm judging you, when I feel slighted by you, that there's a separation is caused between me and you. Right? And when I feel separate from God's other kids, I feel separate from God.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Ali. Jan, would you like to comment in and unmute yourself, please?
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm floating on a cloud somewhere in heaven. Thank you so much, Ali, for talking about the guest house and reading it. That's something I read to myself every day before my meditation. Thank you so much for talking about Rumi and God being in the dark places when we're there. That was so profound, and I believe he is. So much talk of love, 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 and how we can connect to love within ourselves. I even heard while you were speaking, self-love, 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 and then I can love the world outside of me. Just a note. Julie was the one who invited me this evening. She was having technical trouble. She couldn't hear Olis. She could hear everyone else, but not Olis. So she texted me on the phone. I'm kind of out of my lane, sorry. She texted me on the phone to say, please explain to everyone that I was just trying to reach out for some assistance from the host or co-host. She didn't want to get kicked out. Anyway, besides that, it was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so, so very much.
Thank you. Calvin? Calvin? Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. My name's Calvin. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Ali, for a good message, guys. Good message. Good job. And Alice said something to touch me. I think she had said, it's on page 46 in Wiener Gnostic. Who can comprehend the word God anyway? And I know I can, And I don't know what God is. But one thing I do know, I know for sure, is when I'm disconnected from that power. I know right away when I'm disconnected. And I know why I'm disconnected. Because I done got resentful, fearful, and I get disconnected from that power. Because I get irritable and discontented. I can feel it in my spirit. And I can feel it in the energy that I give off. And people can feel it around me without me opening my mouth. For a prime example, I took a blood test and so they found protein in my urine. That's the first sign of kidney failure, right? And I got afraid. And then I got in a discussion with a guy, and I said something I shouldn't have said to him. And I know I owed him amends. But I learned not to clean the stove while it's hot. I learned not to do that. So I left it that day, and I said, well, I'm going to straighten that. And I put that on the back burner, too. And then the IRS was climbing up my back. And I put that. So I'm pounding up, and I'm blocked off from the sunlight of the Spirit. I am totally blocked. And Lana told me one morning, she said, and I know I woke up in contemplation, I seen why I was blocked. So Lana, I took a shower, and when I was headed downstairs, Lana said, Calvin, where you going? I said, I'm going to LabCorp. I went and got my blood test doing because I was scared to death of that. I didn't want no answer. I left LabCorp and I went straight downtown and talked to the guy at this auto shop I made amends to him. I said, I am so sorry you didn't deserve for me to talk to you that way. Then when I got home that afternoon, I was going to call the IRS. And there was a letter in the mailbox saying they cut my IRS bill in half. What I owed them in half. And the peace came back. I was connected back into God. I don't need a lot of answers. I need a lot of actions. I need to take a lot of actions. I know when I'm blocked off, and I know why I'm blocked off, usually. So most days I live pretty peaceful and pretty peaceful. But every now and then, and I'm going to say this and be quiet, talking about Bernadette, I was there the night before she passed. I was my best friend for 30 years. We hung out a lot. And Bernadette was the only person she believed in. Some people say faith is the opposite of fear. Bernadette said, no, Calvin. She said, fear drives you to faith. It drives you to faith. Because without fear, you don't get scared. You ain't going to do nothing. You know what I mean? It drove her to faith. And I was there the last day. She came out of coma, and Ray put her on the phone. And I could see her, and she was all excited because we stayed on Zoom because of her. And she said, I had a meeting, all that stuff. She was all excited. And I'm thinking, she said, I'll see you tomorrow. And Ray told me, Ray said, no, she won't see you tomorrow, Captain. And she died that night. But one thing I say, she lived a full life with anything that went on with her because she had such a trust in God. So God sends us these angels, man. So thank you so much, man. Thank both of you guys. You did a tremendous job.
Thank you, Calvin. Thank you so much. Lastly, Leanne, would you try the quick and sweet?
Yes. Thank you very much, Olis and Ali. I just loved your presentation tonight. I have a question for Ali. When you were talking about substituting names inside of the Lord's Prayer, how fast and what kind of reciprocal help did you get? Like, what was the change made? And I sent you a private message, but I'm not sure if it went through or not. So I pushed my hand to raise it.
Hi, Leah. Nice to see you. I'll
Did
keep
you
it
too?
short. I'll keep it short and general. I think all prayer, I'm going to just steal Ralph's experience and what he says because it's true. That's the beautiful thing about our program, eh? Nothing belongs to anybody. Everything's there for the taking. Well, does it fit? Can I use it? All right. I'm going to use, what I heard Ralph say, and it pertains to what you just said. I'm not going to give you specific examples, but generally this prayer, let's say this prayer, has not changed the external. It has changed me for the world.
Inside.
It has changed me for the external. So who I show up is different now in these very difficult times as a result of prayer, because if my happiness and my peace depended on the outside, then what am I doing in Alcoholics Anonymous? That relationship would have fixed me. The job would have fixed me, right? It's an inside job. So I think that's how I can answer it for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you, Olis. Thank you, Ali. Thank you very, very much for coming with us and have a conversation about the light, the creator, the endless, the divine. It was actually